Shaping Success with Wes Tankersley is brought to you by Aggressive Marketing Solutions, your solution for all business social media needs. If you need a team of social media marketers and content creators to help you build your brand on social media, text WES 2020 to 541-709-6502 today. Get started building your brand on social media. Success is defined differently by every individual. Some have never even considered what it is. I hope when I get older I'll be successful. What does that even mean? Money? Cars? Big house? On this show, we strive to look at it a little deeper, learning from successful individuals on what they believe success really is and how to obtain it. Everybody, enjoy the show. This is Shaping Success with Wes Tankersley.
Hey, what's up, everyone? You are watching Shaping Success with me, your host, Wes Tankersley. I just wanted to come to you this week. It is the week of 4th of July, so we're not going to do a guest interview this week just because we couldn't get anyone to commit because a lot of people are having plans and being on vacation and things like that. So what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to do kind of a little recap of last week's episode. If you haven't watched it yet, it was a great episode. My guest was Mark Simo, who is one of the founders of Trust Me Vodka. If you haven't checked that out, go ahead and check that out. It's right here in the live stream network, which I want to talk a little bit about my sponsors before we get started here. So I've got a couple of sponsors that help me out and get this show going. You're watching this probably on TVPBN, which is my producer. They actually do a great job of getting this all set up for me. If you're interested in getting something like this done, hit me up in the DMs, let me know, and I will direct you in the right direction so that you can start your own live show or podcast. Also, my other sponsor, Aggressive Marketing Solutions, which helps me to push this out and get things going. So anyway, I just wanted to say thank you to those people. If you do have any questions about that, let me know. So let's get right into talking about Mark Simo. A couple of the things that Mark talked about was following, his passion, his dreams, and things like that. And one of the things that I really take from these episodes is that as a former school teacher, I was taught that through a lot of things, and kind of the epiphany that I had about this whole situation was the fact that I have to go to college to be successful. And so sitting there thinking that you have to go to college, thinking that you have to be something that you have to fit into this, you're a square peg in a round hole. You got to fit in that round hole is what everyone always tries to teach you. They always try to tell you, hey, you got to go to college. You got to do this. You got to do that. You can't do anything without a degree. Well, I drank that Kool-Aid for a while, and I know that I may get some backlash for saying that, but you do not have to have a degree to be successful. I think it's really important that you finish your formal education, that you learn and get your diploma in high school or your GED or whatever that is, because that is something that you definitely have to have. A lot of places of employment require that. But if you're going to go into an entrepreneurial, it's kind of up to you. If you're willing to work hard, you're going to get what you're looking for, no matter what it is. But you have to know that you're willing to do that. So I really think that school has a place. I think that if your dream requires you to have an education to do what you want to do, you really got to do that. But if it doesn't, then it's a whole different situation. And you can be successful as long as you're a hard worker and you do those things that you really want to do. And that's what this show is about, Shaping Success. That's what it's called, right? It's about creating this environment where you can be successful no matter what you do. You don't have to go to college. You don't have to do what everyone else is telling you. You can create this dream of yours, and you can follow it, and you can do all the things that you need to do, but you're going to have to be willing to work hard for it, put all your effort into it, and know what it is and define it. So jumping into how Mark talked about that, one of the things that Mark talked about in our interview was the fact that his parents were school teachers, but he didn't quite fit that persona. He wanted to find something to do. So through going around and figuring out things, he just kind of pulled things out. He just kind of created these clothing brands. So Mark was a creator of No Fear, creator of Life's a Beach, creator of Spy Eyewear, creator of Bad Boy Club. And most recently, he helped co-found Trust Me Vodka. So these are just great brands and businesses that he's created, but he was willing to take that step. And that's the biggest thing. A lot of people are afraid to follow their dreams and do what they do because it takes some risk. Okay. So Success is created by you. And a couple of the things that Mark talked about, and I'll just kind of go through the interview. I pulled it out, listening to things and talking to him and things about that, was marketing yourself, right? We talk about how we market ourselves, how we put ourselves out there and things like that. One of the great things that Mark did with Life's a Beach when it first started was they would walk up and down the beach with the shorts, and they got in trouble for doing it after a while, and they had to go get into a shop. But a great marketing lesson that he learned was when he was at a motorcycle show, they had the shorts out, they had them taped to the side of a trailer, which was really cool. And then they had a racer come up and say, "Hey, can I get a pair of those?" And he asked for them for free. And Mark was like, "Well, I don't know, they're $20. You just need to pay for them." Well, then he started talking to him about, "Hey, what if I wore them in this motorcycle race?" And so he did. He said, "Okay, well, if you win the moto or whatever, you can wear them in the motorcycle race." So this guy pulls these shorts over his leathers, and he wears these shorts in the middle of this race. And guess what? They sold out because someone marketed it. And that was kind of the first thing that he learned about marketing, is putting your product out there. Sometimes you have to allow someone, you have to give something away in order to get something. And that's kind of where a lot of things happen. Being able to give away your product or market your product or do things like that. I had another guest on the show, John Hutton, which we've talked about. He talked about, he's a video guy. He creates videos and things like that. If you haven't checked him out, it's at JH Videos, and check him out and look at that. But he's going to start creating these clips for me, and I'm going to market him a little bit. So we're sharing services. I don't have anything to pay him right now, but he would like to have his name put out there. So I'm going to market him a little bit, and he's going to create these clips for me. So you need to reach out to people. You need to be willing to look for that. If you don't have money, find a way. Offer something of value to someone so that they can understand that that's what you're looking for. So that was kind of the first thing. The next thing was, being able to believe in what you sell, living the life of what it is. He talked about how each business that he had is kind of a chapter of his life. Life's a Beach was about surfing and things like that. So you had to be living that dream. So he's out surfing, he's out wearing the shorts, he's out doing those things. So you have to believe in what you're selling, whether it's a clothing brand, whether it's a webinar, something like that. You have to live that life and be willing to live that. And so that was a great idea there, is that no matter what you do, you have to be authentic. And, when I started this whole situation, this whole process, everything that I'm doing, which I've been doing for about a year now, I realized that I needed to be able to market myself. I needed to be able to believe in what I was saying. And it's just me talking to a camera at first. I started to do these videos every single day about things that are meaningful to me, my integrity, the way that I look at life, the changes that I'm making in my situation, going from the glass is half empty to half full, being positive, being proud about what you're doing and talking about that. And that's what draws people to you. You're branding yourself. They believe in you. They don't believe in the product that you're selling. They're going to buy from you because they trust you and they know who you are. And that's a great thing. That's a great process, because that happens for me as a salesman as well. This is my second kind of side hustle here, right? So I have a regular day job where I go out and I sell, and I'm authentic, and I educate, and I make sure that the people understand exactly what they're getting, and they trust me, and then they're able to make that decision to give me their money to provide them with a service, right? And that's kind of what you have to do. You have to be willing to believe in what you're doing, provide that service for someone, give them value. And, that's really, just being authentic. Another thing that he talked about was how business is like an extreme sport, right? You have to take a risk. There's risk involved. Business in anything in life, there's risk involved. And that's the biggest problem that I see with society, is that people are afraid to take risks. They're afraid to fail. They're afraid that no matter what they do, there could be a negative outcome to that. And what he talked about was taking that failure and turning it around and using that to create a success later. And so I heard Grant Cardone say this one time, and I talked about it in the last episode, where people who are successful look at failure as a green light versus a red light. Some people will fail and then they'll just quit, right? Because we're looking at this, this traffic light. So there's red, yellow, and green, right? Some people will just quit as soon as they fail. They don't want to try again. They don't think it's worth it. It's not something that will bring them success. So they'll quit, right? They give up. And so when you give up, you're never going to reach your goal. It's never going to happen for you. You're never going to be successful because you've quit what you're doing. Now, if you take that failure and you create a success out of it, if you learn how to re-engineer it and make it work for you over and over again, that's what's going to happen. I'm sitting here looking at quotes and talking about, how success is really important and how, people fail. And you think about it, like Thomas Edison, he's one of those people who created millions of inventions, but the one that popped, you remember, right? So that's the thing. People don't remember the failures because they don't see them. They don't see that process. They remember all of the successes, right? Unless your failure is really big and it's out in the middle of nowhere or out in the open. But just think about that. Think about the success that you've created. Did you create success the first time? Were you ever perfect at something the very first time? I coached baseball, and I really love the fact that baseball is a game of failure because I really feel like it relates to life. If you look in the background, you see these people back here, some really, really great players, right? Some of these people are going to be in the Hall of Fame. Some of these people are very successful, but the thing is that when they get up to bat, the batting average of a very good baseball player is around 300, right? So when they get up to bat, that means that they failed 7 out of 10 times and they were successful 3 out of. But if they quit after the first time they struck out, would they have ever gotten there? And that's the way life is. You can't quit. Okay. So thinking about that, thinking about extreme sports and things like that, I really like that relationship between those two because there is a parallel there. It's a risk. You have to take a risk in order to be successful. And the hardest part is deciding to take that risk. So if you're on the fence about that, really think about what you want. Think about your goals. Are you happy in what you're doing? Because if you are, then that's success, right? If you love what you do, if you're happy, it's successful. But if you don't, then you need to think about that. And what is it going to take? And it may be a small baby step. I talked about this in an episode called Small Steps, if you go back and look through the podcast. But in small steps, the main focus of this whole situation is the fact that look at the little goal in front of you. Look at the little mark in front of you. If you're running down the road and you don't think that you can go on, pick a point in front of you. Pick a point right on the side of the road, get to that point, and then pick another one and continue to go. Don't look at it as I need to run a mile. Look at it as I need to run a quarter mile. Look at it as I need to run an eighth of a mile. I need to run a half a mile, whatever. Break it down into smaller steps, and that will make that goal easier to attain. Okay. So, that was one of the things that I really like that Mark said. He goes, the road to success is paved with failure, right? So be willing to fail. Be willing to understand that in order to reach your dreams, those things, you have to fail. Failure is not something that does not happen to successful people. Millions of successful people, many successful people have failed multiple times before becoming success. And if you don't believe it, go check out some of other people's contents. Listen to Russell Brunson, listen to Gary Vee, listen to Tony Robbins, listen to Lewis Howes, listen to all these people who have failed multiple times before they've succeeded. It never just happens right off the bat. But the one thing that they continue to do is that they continue to push forward and work through that. I'm kind of a testament to that if you think about it. I've done a couple things in my life. I've changed tires for 11 years for a successful tire company. I went back to college after failing the first time. I had a 1.27 or 1.25 GPA the first time, and then graduated with a master's and a bachelor's above 3.5 both times. And so it's all about whether you're willing to put in the work or not. And that's what you have to think about. So again, the road to success is paved with failure. Think about that. Okay. This is kind of a short little episode. I wanted to talk a little bit, like I said, about my interview with Mark. I think that it was a great interview. Mark was a very good person to talk to about entrepreneurship, about following your dreams, about failure and things like that. So if you haven't checked out that episode, we'll put the link in the show notes. If you're listening to this on Shaping Success, check out the last episode. You're really going to like it. It's also on TV PBN. Everything that I do is on live show on TV PBN. You can follow me. I have a business page, Wes Tankersley. If you look in my link in my bio, wherever you're watching this, follow me there and you'll see this stuff. If you want to watch the video, it's on TVPBN. I have a link for it. If you want to listen to it on the podcast, I have a link to all the podcasts and everything. So again, I wanted to say thank you to Aggressive. Thank you to TVPBN for producing these episodes for me and continuing to get me going. If you're interested in doing that, let me know. If you want to advertise in the show, we're also looking for advertisers and sponsors because we want to keep this thing going. We want to bring you some positivity every single week. Until next time, I am going to challenge you to try and find the shape of your success. Thank you for tuning in.
This was Shaping Success with Wes Tankersley, brought to you by Aggressive Marketing Solutions. If you need a team of marketers to help you with social media, all you need to do to start is text Wes 2020 to 541-709-6502. 541-709-6502. That is Aggressive Marketing Solutions. Have a great day. See you next time.